How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
I love the young people.
Media Central. Well, it's time I got on with this video. So the last time I made a video on this guy was over a year ago, and I think now is a better time than ever to make a little follow-up. Before you ask, barely anything has changed. He's still been nicking videos with the same length, quality, time, dates, the whole 9 yards. Nothing we haven't seen. So today, I'll be responding to some of the comments and replies I got from the video and give my own, thankfully updated take on them. I'm now 18 years old, so let's see if my argument bonus improved. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and explain myself without using all that quote-unquote satire I did in that other video, because the point might get drowned out for whatever reason, so I'll be as fair as I can, partially so you understand me, and partially so I don't have to do another video like this for another year. So, a decent chunk seemed to be agreeing with me on what I said, which is all well and good for me, but there was a sprinkle of disagreement from others, specifically his fans. This comment says, just because he uploads the same content doesn't mean it's stolen. Well, last time I checked, and at the time of me posting that video 1 year ago, the quality was the same, the points where the videos start near the end of one program and end near the next are the same, and the length is roughly the same, so in this case, unfortunately, I wouldn't agree with you. However, there is one person who does agree, however, and it is Caitlin Sparkle, who went on to post 2 separate replies, which I shall now go through. Why can't they just let it go? Stop complaining over the smallest thing. I made one video 1 year ago, and this was posted 2 months ago. Also, just because it's a small thing doesn't make it any better. He's still nicking other people's continuity videos, which is a shitty thing to do and shows some form of irresponsibility on his part. I mean, for goodness sake, one Google search will clarify it for you. It's a waste of time for exposing Josh/Media Central UK because of this drama. It's way overboard. Listen, there may be some pricks out there who may say some less than ideal stuff about you, but I'm afraid that's how the internet works. It's a place where, regardless of how good or bad you are, or think you are, people have the right to criticise or ridicule the sort of put out, and that's me trying to put it lightly. Yet, this video isn't really necessarily needed to begin with. Don't tell me what I can and can't upload. It's my channel. Besides, it's you who thinks this isn't unnecessary, and the other comments from other continuity uploaders like Earthloomer tells me that they don't want their shit nicked by Media Central, so I think bringing more attention to crappy activity on YouTube is better than just letting it happen, even if it might be unnecessary as you put it. I get they're genuinely annoyed and being considered, but they're all behaving like it's a big deal. I mean, it really isn't. It isn't a big deal, but as a content creator and someone who finds stuff like this quite irritating, I made the conscious decision to bring more attention to this, which wasn't done with malicious intent or bullying in mind, simply pointing out stuff in a satirical, possibly not manner. That sort of poking fun stuff shouldn't really be taken seriously, or personally, really, that's a better word, personally, nor did I intend anything bad from it, simply just pointing facts with a stupid goofy undertone which probably came off as pandering if anything. Also, just because you're a smaller content creator doesn't mean you're suddenly exempt from criticism or anything like that. It's usually done to point you in the right direction on where you should take your videos, not necessarily to follow, but there are exceptions. Like, if you're stealing videos, which is the case here, then yeah, I think criticism is valid. The size of your channel does not matter in this case. They need to understand that it's actually a misunderstanding. What? What do you mean? Have I got the wrong bloke or something? I can't say that I have, because I provided evidence in the video. It wasn't like I just said Media Central bad and provided no reason as to why. They need to get a grip over this issue and actually get their facts straight before accusing. I'm sorry, did you even watch the video? I tried to get my facts straight there, and even though that video is slightly crap in the grand scheme of things, it's still factually correct if you bother to look past the admittedly pandering take I seem to put on the situation. You could clearly see what I was trying to say. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. It's unacceptable, and it's frankly embarrassing, especially for Josh/Media Central UK. No, it isn't. No one's in the right here. People who harass him aren't in the right. Neither is he, because he, whether you want to admit it or not, started the whole stealing videos thing. Although I might have escalated the problem by making the video, which again wasn't my intention, then again, if you're not going to do anything about it, then what can I do? It's like arguing with the invisible hand, fighting an endless battle, or yelling at a brick wall. It's annoying but inevitable, but nonetheless it's a massive shame. He deserves better, and also deserves an apology from those who have verbally abused him. I find it quite interesting that you've skimmed past all the actual points I was trying to make, and instead are more worried about the unrelated stuff people are saying about him. I'll say it again, this is the internet. It doesn't revolve around a singular person, and if you've managed to accumulate a large following by nicking other channels' videos, then don't be surprised when somebody starts calling you out for it. No one owes you or him anything. The harassment is unacceptable, but that's besides the main point I was trying to make, which isn't to ridicule him, it's simply to point out the poor decisions he's decided to make as a YouTuber. They need to stop and think about Josh's feelings and accept the consequences of their actions. What consequences? You've written this entire reply like everyone who says something bad about this guy has committed a war crime or something. And then again, a significant portion of people who use the internet have the very concept of caring about other people's feelings at the back of their head, and whether that's a good or bad thing really depends on who you're talking to. Josh has already learned his lesson, and it's all thanks to me. Well, no he hasn't. He's literally nicked 2 videos from Continuity Cabin and a video from the Hall of Advertising around and literally 1 week ago respectively. 1 week? Really, what has he learned? He hasn't learned anything. Caitlin, if you wanted to distance yourself from all this, then be my guest, but you don't do that by constantly engaging in the reply threads of a single video because you're essentially just drawing yourself back into it rather than away from it. These comments are still up, so I assume that you stand by your opinions, which is fine, but I'm providing an argument against it, which anyone has the right to agree or disagree with. If there's something I'd like to see Media Central do more of, it's one of those commentary videos he did about the UK TV rebrand that happened a few months ago. What it fails at in bad editing, it gets back in that it's something different and original. It is offering an opinion about something, and I like that. If he did more videos like that, then more power to him. It's just such a shame that the whole stealing videos thing has become somewhat the norm for him. I'm also aware of the argument that continuity videos in general aren't technically owned by the recordists, more rather the broadcasters, but in that assessment, it would take recording enough of an actual program to warrant any copyright claim. That being said, YouTube legend Bluefrog PV was recently terminated, although he has been recently reinstated, thank God. But I don't think we should worry about this, but it does bring up many questions concerning the future of TV continuities on YouTube and the fact that you need to back up every single recording if you have one, so you don't lose it. So yeah, brilliant. So now let's take a look at some other noteworthy comments, which includes one that said that they knew Media Central in high school. I don't know whether this is true. It could be bait, but who knows. Someone called Nigel Glover comes in with, "None other one, I my own girlfriend." Well, it's great to see that the YouTube comment section is being put to good use. Cake Bomb said that he might not like Media Central as much as he did before, which is a fair enough assessment. I mean, it's been a year and he hasn't really stopped nicking stuff. Woodenfor also brings up the personal archive thing, which we all knew was a lie bigger than any that Jim Carrey's ever told. And another suggestion was to record stuff himself, which isn't too hard if you try to find the time to bother. It's dead easy for the BBC channels, because all you need is OBS, the iPlayer, and a TV schedule. Or just use a USB stick and record stuff onto there from your TV. I should know, because I've done it before. It's not easy, but it's not hard either. Someone called CS Enterprise 96 says that Caitlin accused him of bullying and harassment of Media Central UK, which he claims he hasn't done. And honestly, it's such a stretch to accuse people of doing stuff that's blown so out of proportion to what they actually did, which in this case was likely just to call out his thievery. I would be a bit annoyed too if someone nicked my YouTube video for no reason at all. And I can't believe I have to point this out, but criticism is when you offer solutions to something you personally view as bad, which may include negative comments, but that helps you to improve your content. Bullying, however, is when you have no intention of solving problems and are simply serving up verbal abuse for your own enjoyment. There's a massive difference. You just have to separate the two, and if you're going to challenge criticism, then at least explain why. In this case, it's not bullying. It isn't. It's just simply pointing out the bad and the basic human idea that stealing stuff isn't good. You don't rob a bank and think that's good. This is basically the internet equivalent of that. Not as badly punished, but it's still not. It's still frowned upon, really. There's also a point of having to watch one of his videos when you can't figure out whether it's stolen or original, and given his track record, it's really not difficult to understand why. And if you ask me, it's not a very good look if someone pains themselves to watch your video and if they can't figure out whether it's stolen or not. So really the big boot in that entire crunch was Caitlin Sparkle, who actually managed to make 2 paragraphs of response, albeit a half-assed response that culminated to, please don't point out the flaws in people because their poor feelings got hurt. And Media Centre actually managed to have a brief conversation with The Logo World UK, another YouTuber I made a video on a year ago, and he denounced me as a bully, showcasing a complete lack of awareness of what he did and is doing to this day. Which is, and by the way, that's not me calling him a bully. It's quite the opposite, alright? But I'm not a bully. I'm not. I'm just not, alright? And you'll just have to take my word for it, which is a very hard thing for some people to understand, really. So that's great, isn't it? Lovely. Another strange thing he did was call for my channel to be shut down, which, if I'm going to be honest, is such a stupid argument for someone just offering their opinion on a situation. And again, the system doesn't work in your favour unless YouTube figures you're making them enough money to justify it, which is such a shit system. I'm well aware that this video probably should have been done sooner, but I wanted to give it a few months to see how his fans would respond, and half of them acknowledged what he did and others defended it, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to provide a reason as to why you are defending it, other than simply saying you are wrong and that is fact. Maybe I helped with the situation, maybe I didn't, who knows. Anyways, I'm going to go back to being a cave-dwelling cottage humanoid, so maybe I'll make a follow-up to the Logo World UK video, because the comments on there were actually 10 times toxic than on the original video, so we'll just have to see. So, until another rubbish video from me, I'll be off. Goodbye.
Security system takes control of Squidward's house and begins attacking the city.